HarperCollins presents The Resurrectionist by Rae Dunlap. Read by Tom Kiteley. An Introduction. To hear my mother tell the story, my decision to abandon my studies at Oxford was enough to disgrace my father into an early grave, regardless of his habits, his drinking, his gambling, his debts. In her mind, it was my own act of reckless rebellion that was to blame. To that end, it's perhaps for the best that he wasn't alive 6 months later, when I was nearly arrested for smuggling a naked corpse in a wheelbarrow down Chambers Street at midnight. But I fear that's getting rather ahead of myself. The point is, the shame I brought upon my father apparently drove him to his untimely death, making the events which transpired in the wake of his passing the fault of no one but myself. My father never had particularly high aspirations for me, so the fact that I was able to underwhelm him so completely was quite the accomplishment indeed. As the third son of a modestly landed family, it was impressed upon me from an early age that I would require a livelihood, one becoming of a man of my station. In my early childhood, my father assumed that I would follow my uncle's path into the military. But it quickly became apparent that neither steadfast leadership nor brazen feats of daring were amongst my stronger suits, as I exclusively pursued activities of a much gentler persuasion. I would notoriously steal away from my brother's reckless exploits and wild marauding about the grounds of the family estate to hide inside the library with a book, more content in the company of words than my siblings. What's more, my diminutive stature made athletic competition too humiliating to endure, so I therefore declared it outside my natural inclination and avoided it whenever possible, much to my father's dismay. So it was to be a clerical vocation for me, the church being the next best chance for an unlanded gentleman to excel in society. And preparations were made for my attendance at Oxford, where I could procure a degree while manoeuvring my way to a prominent parish position. This edict of intent was dictated to me by my father, in his unmistakable blithe monotone across the mahogany expanse of his desk 3 days before my departure for Oxford in the summer of 1828, along with a comprehensive summary of my weekly allowance and the names and titles of class-appropriate peers with whom I was explicitly instructed to rub shoulders. However, it quickly became clear to me that life in the church could never suffice. As ill-suited as I was to be a leader, it was evident that I was a considerably worse follower. I was uniquely repelled by both mundanity and tradition. Classics bored me, rhetoric confounded me, and the few theology lectures I attended failed to ignite wonder. I abruptly began to realize that I could no more devote my life to antiquity and myth than I could take up arms and command a battalion. To me, military maneuvers and ecclesiastical quandaries paled in comparison to the passion that I felt when reading about the biological facts of life. The insuppressible notion began to dawn on me that I was, in my core, a man of science. And not just any science. Human science. The study of the body, of man himself, of sinew and bone and humour and blood. The essence of life, the very organs that granted our being, that was the wonder of it all. To unlock the mysteries of the human form was to behold God's masterpiece with one's own eyes, and that is what sparked the fire within me for the very first time. Turning each riveting page of every volume in the university's well-curated collection of anatomy texts, I knew then and there that my calling was to be a physician. And to a modern man, a call to be a physician was a call to Edinburgh, shining beacon of medical discovery, home of Hume and the New Enlightenment. A city unparalleled even on the continent in its quest for progress on the scientific front. To be a truly contemporary physician of the era, one could aim no higher than a diploma from the university there. And so,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?